Hey friends, I'm Dr. Molly Brinkman. I'm a veterinarian near Nashville, Tennessee, and this is a show for people who love their pets, like to laugh and realize that life is hard, but dogs and cats help. I love veterinary medicine. I'm probably already obsessed with your pet, and I want you to understand more about both of those things. So welcome to the Dr. Molly Says podcast. Hi friends. Today we have a very short episode. When you're listening to this or watching this, I will be in Jamaica. Ryan and I are going on a couples trip to Sandals in Jamaica, and I'm so excited. We're leaving today, and so I just wanted to record an episode to talk about a short subject, just so there's something for you to listen to while I'm on vacay. So what I was thinking we would chat about is the practice. So we've talked, if you're been listening, you know that I am opening a veterinary practice very soon. So I just wanted to give you some more information and details about it and all of our plans and kind of how all of this came to be. We will be talking about this for a long time. And I'm hoping that eventually, once we get open and everybody hired, we'll have staff on the podcast as well, so you can get to know our team. So if you're new here, I have been a veterinarian for 11 years now. I went to the University of Tennessee for undergrad and veterinary school and had a great time there and loved my experience, loved the vet school there. And then I was a horse vet first. So I practiced horse medicine in Colorado for a couple of years. I thought I wanted to be a horse surgeon. I quickly realized I did not want to be a horse surgeon in my internship year. But I stayed on at that practice and did mixed medicine. So small animal and large animal. But I saw everything. So horses, cows, sheep, goats, pigs, llamas, alpacas, and dogs and cats as well. And so I was there for 2 years, and then I moved back here to Middle Tennessee about over 8 years ago. And so I've been in this area practicing for 8 years. I'm from Franklin. This is where I grew up. It's a suburb of Nashville. We're about 30 minutes south of Nashville. And I have, some might accuse me of being a clinic hopper. I have practiced in a few different practices here. But the reason that has sort of happened is because I really have been focused on practice ownership in some way for several years. And so I have transitioned between clinics because I've been trying to find one where I can purchase the practice and take over. Obviously, that never worked out, and such is life. So I was definitely considering that in a couple different places where I was at. And the most recent practice I was at really was considering that. The practice ended up selling to a corporate group, Mission Pet Health. And I really am not interested in working for corporate in any form, even in ownership. And so that was my sign to just do the dang thing on my own. So my husband's not in vet med. He's actually a high school teacher. We found a building, the one I'm sitting in right now, for sale that seemed like it could be a really good fit for what we wanted to do. So we bought this building. It's a very large building. It's 11,000 square feet, which, if you know anything about this area, that's a expensive purchase, but a great investment. So we bought this building. It's 11,000 square feet, but it's made up of different office suites. So right now, half of the building is occupied with tenants. And then the other half of the building, the last 6 months, we demoed. So 2 big office suites we demoed completely in the front of the building and have been doing construction to create a veterinary practice inside of that space. So our clinic will take up about 6,000 square feet inside of this building, which is actually very large for a startup veterinary practice. It includes offices, so doctor's offices, break room, storage. We're going to move our podcast studio into that office, and then our clinical area. So lobby, we're going to have 7 exam rooms, which is a lot of rooms, and 2 different kennels, a surgery suite, a dental suite, large treatment area, and then a cat-specific kennel. So there are some things we're doing with a design that are unique and you may not have ever seen in a vet practice. I have been a very big part of the whole design process. So people have asked me, like, who helped you come up with the way this is all laid out? And I have been thinking about what I would want my dream vet practice to look like for a long time, the last 10 years. And so one thing that I am so thankful for in having practice in a lot of different places is that, not all of the practices where I worked were great experiences, but I learned a lot everywhere I was. So I learned a lot of things or observed a lot of things. I'm like, oh, I want to do this that way. That's a really good way to do this. And then probably even more things of, okay, I don't want to do that way. And so that's kind of a long time of gathering just information and experience and opinion about what I would want a vet practice to look like. And so I have worked with this amazing team. Shout out, Design Build Partners is a local company that does architecture, design, and building. And so they've been a part of the whole process. So basically, several months ago, before we even closed on buying the building, I sat down with them to talk about what we want to create and what I want it to look like and what I want the flow to be and the design and the layout. And so they just were so wonderful at helping me take all of my ideas, streamline them, and put them on paper into architecture and design. So I could talk about this for days, and I think it probably would be a good thing to take questions about and answer. So we'll do that. So feel free to send questions about specific things. But overall, I wanted to build a practice that is built for growth. So we have a large space. We built it with the intention of down the road having a lot of people in the building. So we did build 7 exam rooms, and then a large treatment area, 2 different surgical suites, and all those things. I don't think I mentioned we'll have an x-ray room as well. And so a lot of kind of thought about efficiency and workflow for staff went into the design. You've probably never walked through a vet clinic that's laid out the way ours is. So the big picture, and without seeing it, it's hard to maybe picture it, but we've got a very beautiful lobby that we designed that's got arched windows and doors that are framed with stained wood and columns and beams of stained wood and pretty fixtures and furniture, because I just really wanted the lobby to feel very cozy and comfortable and nice and welcoming. And I really wanted to create this environment of transparency for clients. There's a emergency group called Veterinary Emergency Group, and they started opening emergency clinics several years ago that are what we call in vet med open concept emergency clinics. So basically, if you ever walked into a veg, it's just one big open room, and there's tables around the room and kennels for their hospitalized patients, but it's just a big room. So everyone that's there with their pet can stay with their pet with the team. They can see what is going on throughout because it's just completely open. If they do surgery on pets, their owners are allowed to watch from outside the surgery room. And if owners want to spend the night there, they can. So they're all about transparency. And vet med has kind of mixed opinions about that, especially people who've never worked in it. They feel like, oh, that's so weird. But I really liked that concept, but translating that into general practice, GP vet med, is a little bit more complicated because we just have a lot of kind of different things going on at any given time in a clinic. So I wanted to create an environment that feels very open and there's a lot of transparency so clients can really see what we're doing, but also provides privacy when in times that privacy is needed, and spaces for staff to not feel like they're in a fishbowl, and just like a really good experience for our clients and our patients. So that was like the big picture ways, or the ways we made things a little bit different. So a couple things we did. I really wanted there to be outside entrances into a couple of the exam rooms for dogs, because we see so many stressed dogs, especially when they're in the vet clinic, they're anxious. And one big source of that is when they go into a lobby where there might be other animals, and there's this sort of like lead up time to going to an exam room. And so we, with our building layout, were able to place 2 exam rooms at the front of the building. And then we added 2 doors, exterior doors that go straight into those exam rooms that will have, or they do have, porches outside of them, so that clients with those dogs or really painful arthritic dogs that, it hurts for them to walk all the way through the clinic, or if somebody has like 4 Great Danes, they don't have to drag them through the lobby. So we have 2 rooms where people can go straight in, and they also are fenced porches. So if a dog is really stressed, even in that exam room, there is evidence that a lot of dogs behaviorally can do better outside. And so we have the ability to examine them outside on the porch if we want. There's a practice here about an hour away called Family Pet Health. It's in Murfreesboro, another kind of area outside of Nashville. And I got my inspiration for that from them. They're an awesome new practice that has porches for all of their exterior exam rooms. They're real big, but they have a lot of rooms with those porches. So shout out to Family Pet Health because they inspired that. They inspired a lot of kind of the layout that we went with. So that's one cool feature. Another really important thing for me was to have a comfort room with its own entrance as well. So we actually have 5 doors in and out of the clinic, but we have a comfort room that is in the corner of the building on the front, has its own door, and that's where we can perform euthanasia in the clinic. And it just allows, it's also a very comfortable room. We kept beadboard on the walls in there, and we're putting a couch and furniture and rug in there so that when clients come to the clinic for euthanasia, they can just go straight into that room. They don't ever have to see anybody other than the team that's helping them. And then when everything's over, they can just leave through that door, and they don't have to walk through the lobby after, that sad thing has happened and people see them crying and trying to cover that up. So that was really important to me. And then the big picture design of the clinic is that we have a treatment side of the practice. So where surgery, hospitalized patients, dentals, all that is happening is kind of one side of the clinic. And then the other side is where all of our exam rooms are for appointments. We will be doing most things with our patients in the room with their people. So we really didn't need this central treatment area right outside of our exam rooms. So those areas are somewhat separated by distance, but what joins them together is in the middle of the practice. We have what I'm calling the vet bar, but you can picture a nurse's station in a hospital. So it's this central area that spans the length of the building between both of those kind of clinical areas. And it's an open, countertop, literally a bar that's open above the counter, where all of our pharmacy and all of our diagnostic equipment is inside this sort of open island. And so that our staff that needs blood work run or needs meds from either side of the clinic have this central place to go and do that. And eventually, when we're fully staffed, we'll be able to have staff, and that's for that day. That's their job, is they're filling meds and running labs. And it allows our clients to see what we're doing. So as they walk around the hall to get to their exam room, they're literally walking by this nurse station where they could see a tech maybe running an ear cytology on the microscope or running lab work or filling meds. And so it just is more of that transparency, so people really understand how much we're really doing at any moment in a vet clinic. The bar also has this sort of walk-up window area where the pharmacy part is, so that hopefully clients can just come pick up meds, things they need, so that process is more streamlined. So I know I'm just describing something to you that you can't see, but if you go look at my profiles, so we have a page for the local vets. It's just at the local vets. And then mine, Dr. Molly Says, I'm trying to show as much of this as I can. So if you want some visual context for what I'm saying, you can go look. And then once we open very soon, we will be showing everything and in detail once everything's done. So that's the big picture. We have arched windows in our lobby that look into our treatment and surgery area so that clients in the lobby can see that we're working in there and kind of see what we're doing, but not too close. So hopefully no blood and gore too close. And then we just are trying to use a lot of technology to make the experience for clients very efficient and streamlined, but we really are focused on making it a very personal, experience. We want everyone to feel like they're just as important as the next person, and we want them to feel heard, and we want our patients taken care of. So obviously, I'm just really excited to get open. There is so much that goes into opening a veterinary practice. I didn't even realize how many things there are to know and do and organize and figure out and order. And so we're just really in the throes of that right now. I am ordering supplies, and we've picked out a lot of equipment. And so there's just a lot going on, a lot right here at the finish line that happens. But we're planning to open right now, tentatively, like a soft opening of the practice September 1st. So that is very soon. That's in like 6 weeks. And so this week, I've actually been interviewing a ton of candidates for support staff positions. So we're hiring veterinary technicians, veterinary assistants, and client service representatives. So I've met some really awesome people in vet med this week, and just really excited and humbled that they want to come work with us. So we're going to have an all-star team that will be growing a lot the next 3 years, hopefully. I have hired another veterinarian. I'm not allowed to tell you who they are yet, but this person is amazing and is moving here from a faraway place, and has a really cool, unique set of skills to provide for our clients and our patients. So super excited to tell you more about who that is, but we'll have me and that person. So 2 doctors and then support staff for them. So we're going to do a soft opening September 1st. So we're going to announce how you can get in on that and get scheduled for appointments during our soft opening phase. Everybody that comes for those first couple weeks has to agree to give us a lot of grace and let us work through our systems and our protocols so we get it right. And then we're planning to do a really fun, big open house grand opening party September 19th, which is a Saturday. So those dates are subject to change, but that's getting pretty solid numbers of dates that we're going to do all that. And so hopefully September 21st, that Monday after that, we will be open, period, for the public indefinitely. So there's just so much going on, and we're so excited. And there's a lot to show about like what we picked and what we're using and why. And we are going to see dogs and cats. I have learned a lot about treating some other small mammals in the practice I've been filling in at. So I would love to see like rabbits and small mammals. I really want to hire a vet who knows a lot about doing that and has a lot of experience. And so down the road, once we find somebody that can do that, we will see a lot of that. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to give y'all like the deets, some of them about the clinic. The Local Vets is the name. I know I said that, but you should definitely look us up. We're getting our website built. We're working on some really cool programs for clients. And we just want to be a really, really great part of our community. A lot of veterinary practices in our area are selling to corporate groups. And not everything about corporate vet med is bad, and not everything about private vet med is good. But I believe very strongly that veterinary medicine should not go the way that human medicine has. We're behind them, but vertical integration and corporation buyouts funded by private equity are a huge reason why human healthcare in the United States is a big mess. I've got some great friends who are in human healthcare, and I've had lots of conversations with them about this. One of them, who is very wonderful, is coming on the podcast soon to talk about this, to talk about what happened in human medicine 10 to 15 years ago that has led to where they are now. And there are some things happening in vet med that are similar to that. But the cool thing about veterinary medicine is I think we have the power to fight it and stop it and save private vet med. And so starting the Local Vets is part of me trying to do my part in that and providing pet owners with privately owned local practice. I think pet owners are realizing that's what they want. And I think it's really important that they have it as an option. It is harder for private practices to survive because what happens is corporate groups, they get just huge buying power. So pharmaceutical and supply companies give them these really good, and diagnostic companies, they get really good discounts from them because they have, 50, 200 practices. So they're buying larger amounts. And so it gives them the advantage of way bigger margins when it comes to what they charge, because they don't charge less, even though they're getting charged less. They charge more than most private practices, but they make more money on the same things, but then they don't necessarily invest that money in their staff, and they're not charging less to their clients. A lot of them are needing to pay back their funding from private equity. So we'll have episodes all about this, but it's harder for private practices to be successful and survive because they're just fighting a lot more than these corporate groups are. So all that to say, most of you don't live here, but wherever you are, if there are private practices, privately owned practices that are practicing really good medicine, I encourage you to try to find them and support them if you are looking for a new vet or new to town and need a vet, because you, as the pet owner and the consumer, have the most power to keep private vet med alive by going there and by, maybe spending the $5 extra on maybe picking up a medication there rather than ordering it from somewhere like Chewy, who now owns vet clinics, because you are supporting that local private practice more than you probably even realize. So anywho, that's what we're doing. We are so excited. When I say we, Ryan, my husband, is a teacher, but he is not going back to school this fall because he's going to help with just getting everything off the ground, financial stuff. And then also just making sure our kids are fed and clothed and get to school. So we're a very close team now, and we're excited about that as well. And we're going to go to Jamaica this week for one last hurrah before the clinic opens. So everyone that's listening, that's been here, thank you for your support and for being along for the journey. I'm excited to show you more. And if you watch or listen to this and you want to send in specific questions about the clinic, seriously, please send them. I'd love to do a Q&A episode, especially when we get closer to opening, and we'll talk more about all of these things. So if you're not following me, make sure you do. Dr. Molly Says is my handle, Dr. Molly Says Pod for the podcast, and Local Vets for the clinic. If you're listening to this, you can watch on YouTube. If you're watching, you can listen on any podcast platform, and we will see you next week on the Dr. Molly Says podcast.